On our 51st day on the road, reporting this pandemic and the lockdown and its aftermath from the ground, we've stopped somewhere in the middle of the highway between Delhi and Jaipur, using the disruptive power of technology, and thank God for that, to go across to Punjab, where we're joined by the Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh. Punjab, as we know, has also been at the forefront of battling the coronavirus, seeing a spike of new cases because of the pilgrims who returned from Nanded in Maharashtra. Chief Minister Amrinder Singh joins us now. Captain, first let me start by asking you, if you had to step back and look at the overall picture in Punjab, how does it look right now?
Well, it was going all right. I mean, we had a big problem to deal with. We had 135,000 people who came back from our airports of Amritsar, Mohali, and Delhi. That was right when this COVID was building up. So it had already started in Europe and other places. That was the first one. So we had the introduction from there into our Doaba belt. And then, of course, we had the Nizamuddin one, which came to our southern districts, which was Mansa and Sangrur and that sort of belt. And now we've had them coming from Maharashtra. We've had 4,000 people, out of which 905 have tested positive. So as of today, which is their reports have just come in. So we've had this three-pronged thing. And now I'm told that there are about 9,000 people coming from abroad again in the next few days, and 9,000 odd are wanting to come back to Punjab from other states in the country. So I'm going to have 18,000 more coming in. So that is the overall situation. As far as the cases are concerned, they are fairly under control. We can't say they're completely under control, but figures are here. Where is this COVID? It's confirmed cases. I've got 1,451, and I've had 25 people who have died of this disease, and we've got lots in quarantine. We've got nearly 6,000 in quarantine. But when they come now, I'm not letting them go home. They go into quarantine for a week. If they are negative, then we send them for 2 weeks back home and home quarantine, while those who are positive go to a hospital isolation. So that's how we are doing it. So it's at the moment under control.
So, sir, tell me this. You say that at the moment it's under control, but you've also taken the position as a chief minister that every Punjabi is welcome home. Now, the reason I point this out is it's very different from, let's say, Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, who refused to take back his migrant workers, who refused to take back his students from Kota. Only now that the trains are moving, he's been compelled to do so. He even went to the High Court and said, this is a violation of the lockdown, I don't want them. So to that extent, you've taken a very different position.
Well, you can't keep people out. I mean, somebody who's got his home here, he's got his farm here, he's got his factory here, or he's got his business here, he's got his family living here. How can I say that you can't come home? Once it's dead, it's their right to come home. And then it's my duty to see that they come home in a proper way. They go home and after they've been checked and properly cured, and so that they don't spread it in their families and their neighbors that way. But I can't say don't come. I mean, I've got now, as I told you, I've got now another 9,000 wanting to come from other states of the country into Punjab. And then, of course, Europe is sending us another 8,000. So 17,000 are going to come in the next week. So that is, it's their home. They have every right to come.
Well, I'm glad you've taken that position, but can I ask you to speak a little bit about how you're dealing with the Hazur Sahib returnees? Now, a lot of the bump in the Punjab cases, the spike has been from these pilgrims who've come back and they've gone to different parts of Punjab. You've been a little upset with the government of Maharashtra. What exactly went wrong?
No, look, they are your people. Once they go there and they have gone on a pilgrimage and they want to come back. And that's when the government of India didn't allow them to move. Then we had to take it up with government of India. We had to take it up with Mr. Thackeray, who was very kind to do this, and then Ashok Chauhan, because Nanded is his constituency. He also helped out on that and sent them. But the thing is that they should have been checked properly. Now, we were told that they were checked 3 times, but that is just taking your temperature. That's not more than that. And so when they came here, now out of these 905, actually there are about 17 which are really positive. The others are asymptomatic. But they are conveyors, they can convey the bug to others. So that is something that we have to keep. They are in quarantine at the moment. That is unfortunate that happened, but that is, we are therefore now, whoever comes has to go through the process.
Now, I happened to be able to visit Ludhiana, and I went to one of the COVID hospitals where some of these returnees are kept. And the doctor there told me that not even one has fever. In other words, majority of them were asymptomatic. Are you concerned about this new phenomenon of the asymptomatic COVID carrier? Because it's much more difficult to trace without aggressive testing.
Absolutely, you can't do it. I mean, like people say, you take the temperature on the airport and everything's fine, but they don't realize that if you pick up the bug today, it can anywhere between 5 and 7 days before it shows some positiveness in your blood. So that sort of thing we want to. That's why I'm saying 1 week. We keep them in government now in quarantine for 1 week. Then their blood is tested. And if they are positive, then of course they have to stay. If they are negative, then we say, okay, go home. And another 2 weeks you can stay there, 21 days. And then while they are at home, our medical teams are visiting.
You've been a bit annoyed with the center micromanaging the containment zones, the red zones, the green zones, the orange zones. What's going on with that?
I'll tell you, because, how does somebody sitting in an office in Delhi, some joint secretary, obviously they must have given joint secretaries in charge of various states. How does he know what my Punjab is? Do I know better? He knows better. I've been 50 years in politics. My MLAs, my ministers know more. My officers here are my Punjab officers. They have spent their entire lives in Punjab. You don't ask them, somebody joint secretary, I don't know who this joint secretary is, he may be from Assam, he may be from South India or from some other place. What does he know about my state? What they should have done is said that, look, you are the chief minister, it's your government, you run your state. If you need any help from us, the Prime Minister should have said this, tell us, we will help you. That is the way it should have gone. Now, take Patiala. I was just giving this example to somebody else. Patiala has 5 towns. You have Patiala, you have Rajpura, you have Samana, you have Naba, and you have Shatrana. They've made Patiala a red zone. Why? Because Patiala city and Rajpura has it. But the other 3 don't have even one case. Why have you encompassed them in this? Because they don't know what this is all about. On their maps, they only have Patiala written there, so they put a red pin there and say that everything is there. So, even if it had come to me, even I would have told my deputy commissioner that even Rajpura and Patiala, where this is there, you isolate those mahallas, then keep a buffer zone around them and open the rest of the city. Why are we doing this sort of thing? We know our states better. We know our problems better. You cannot compare our problem with Odisha's or Odisha's with Tamil Nadu's or Tamil Nadu's with Pondicherry. Everyone has their own problems. So we know what exactly we need. And this is what I've been trying to tell them, that for God's sake, let us run our states and you come in and help wherever possible. But they say it's a national disaster, so we will give every comma and full stop has to be approved by Delhi. I can't change it. I can only change, if I want to make it more stringent, I can make it, but I can't sort of water it down.
But are you not raising this for the Prime Minister when you all have your video conferences? Are you not saying, let the states make up our own minds? We know our states the best.
Well, I'll tell you this, that when out of the 4 video conferences that the Prime Minister has had with the Chief Ministers, I was only invited to the first one. And at that time, we didn't know what was happening. Things have now crystallized. Now, I'm going to be, certainly, we're going to ask for time to speak to him, or I'm going to write a letter on this count. I think all our party chief ministers are also going to be doing the same thing. That we know our states better, so please rely on us and you help us wherever we require. We need financial help. No, they're not giving us any financial help. How do I run my state? Here is a figure here, which I've got 3,600 crores is supposed to be my income. 88% of that is not coming. I'm only getting 12% of it. How do I run the states? The government is not giving us any assistance, neither to fight COVID nor for our, now if you're opening up industry will want assistance, nothing. It's just blank. I've written a number of letters, no answers.
So what are you planning to do, given this economic hardship?
Yeah, the Prime Minister must understand, and we have to take it up with him, that this is an issue which is involving, we are fighting a national battle. We are the little people all over the country, our little states, but the overall battle is for India. And we have to, the national government has to come to our aid.
Let me ask the soldier in you, because you've seen battle, and you've drawn. This is a war. This is a battle. Do you believe that we need a strategic shift in this battle? Because there is a view now that the economic hardship and the humanitarian crisis, thanks to this lockdown, could be much worse than the virus. Do you believe that there needs to be a tactical retreat, a rethinking, a recalibration in strategy when it comes to locking down so many people and just basically stalling the economy?
No, we have, for instance, in our industry, we have open industry. But here again, now I've got industry, which is 252,000 industrial units in my state. Only about 2% are working. Hopefully now with it having opened, things will build up. But then they come up with this now. Ludhiana has been declared red. Ludhiana has 95,000, it's my industrial belt, industries. Now they say, I was rung up by somebody to say that, why haven't you allowed Ludhiana? I said, because you said you can have it only outside the municipal limits. And this is, all my 95,000 units are within the municipal limits. So what do I open in Ludhiana? It has to be, you have to allow us to decide again. If some area in Ludhiana is bad, I can cordon it off. But why are you stopping the rest of the thing from working? These are the sort of things that only we can decide. Delhi cannot force it on us. So whatever the National Act of the Disaster Act says, they must amend it and they must let us decide what happens in our states.
Now, tell me, how are you going to reopen factories with the mass exodus of migrant workers? First, it's been this shameful sight, of these workers walking. I walked with many of them on highways like the one I'm sitting on. Now you have a problem that you want to revive factories, but the workers aren't ready to stay. How are you going to reopen factories without them?
Well, in Punjab, where we have our own labor, and there's a lot of labor here, which are blue card holders and all the people who are below the poverty line, BPL families, many in Punjab too. But as far as the migrant labor was concerned, we had 13 lakh. Out of which 13 lakh, 10 lakh have opted to go home. And yesterday I sent the first 3 trains and today 6 more are going. And we're going to send these trains. If they want to go, they want to go. Like I want the Punjabis to come here. They have every right to go to Bihar or UP or Jharkhand or wherever they want to go. So we are sending them off. But 3.5 lakh are staying from that labor. And I have a feeling that though 10 lakh have applied to us, now that they know that industry is opening, I think many of them will opt out and they won't go. My feeling is that.
What are you going to do about this economic crisis that is going to be the next stage of this battle?
Yeah, I know. At the moment, we have shut everything up and it's just all our focus is on this battle. But certainly, yes, we have set up a committee, as you know, under Dr. Montek Ahluwalia, and we've asked him to give us a blueprint. And he's roped in a lot of people from all over, who in various topics they are handling, and give us a print on how we can restart and get Punjab's economy moving once this whole thing dies down. That's first. Second part. First part, we have already set up got a report from a committee as to how to get out of this lockdown, how to phase it out. And that today, like opening the shop for 4 hours and doing some other things, that is all part of the committee's report. And we're going according to that. Where we've got top medical people in it, top industrialists in it, top administrators in it. So it's been a very comprehensive sort of a report.
Can I ask you to your view on the opening of liquor shops? I know you'd spoken about this earlier, and of course it's an important source of revenue apart from being, respite for people who may want to have a drink. But we've seen chaotic scenes at liquor stores that have opened, the absence of social distancing, in fact, complete chaos. What is your view on this?
I think these are just initial things. People have been locked up for such a long time, and I think they got an opportunity. So they're going to be. I saw the pictures on television. We are opening up on Thursday, and we are, because people have to stock up and all before they open up. So we, this is something that affects us in a very major way. Now, our main source of income is GST. Now, I still have 4,400 crores that they haven't given me. And it's for the last 3 months it's been pending. So how do I run? Second source is excise duty. 6,200 crores. Now, if I don't get that from liquor, then I have no source of income left in the state. I've got minor things like stamp duty. There's no stamp duty if people want to buy land. Well, nobody's buying land. And if there's some construction or activity, now nobody's constructing anything. So everything is dead at the moment. As I said, only 12% of our revenue, which we're expecting, we're getting.
You've written to the Prime Minister also asking for more testing. Why is that? Are you concerned about under-testing?
Of course, I'm concerned about under-testing. I'm getting, like, for instance, this Nanded people who came, that test, the last test only came last night. They've been here 4 days. We don't have the capacity. We have got about a capacity of 150 at the moment, 1,500 at the moment. But hopefully, by 1st of June, we'll go up to 8,000. But we need that. You may have the equipment. We've got the equipment. We bought whatever is necessary. But the reagents and whatever is required for testing that thing, that's not available in short supply globally. So now we have set up a team under a very senior officer of ours and 3 of our major doctors there. One is the Vice Chancellor of Medical University, one is Dr. Talwar, who is the head of PGI, and also Dr. Rajesh Kumar, who is community medicine, which deals with this topic of COVID from the PGI. And that committee is deciding where to buy, what to buy, how to buy. Initially, we got these Chinese tests to do these tests for this antibodies test. After a lot of these tests were done, suddenly they discovered these are faulty and send them back. So we are waiting for some. They are now coming from South Korea or somewhere like that, and so that we can restart those tests as well. Apart from
in the middle of all that. Yeah. In the middle of all this, you had to deal with a very unfortunate case of a police officer who had his hand chopped off. I went to Patiala to meet him. Amazing officer. You promoted him. I also met the SSP of Patiala who had to lead a very delicate operation to get out the men who had done this to this cop from inside a dera, from inside a Gurdwara. Now, are you concerned about these kind of law and order issues emerging on the side, or did you see that as an isolated case?
No, we have these sort of cases, these Nihangs do quite often. In fact, not even after that in Jalandhar, there was an ASI, some youngster comes and he tries to stop him, he bumps into him, he's on the bonnet and he drives off with this officer. So these law and order problems they'll be dealt with as a law and order measure. There's nothing which is widespread. No, not at all. Law and order is under control here.
Okay, 2 last questions. One is, do you feel that the nature of religious congregations is going to maybe change permanently? We are looking at this very sort of odd situation where across religions, any mass gathering right now is dangerous. And that's why your Hazur Sahib returnees are dealing with this. How are you going to handle this going forward?
No, I'll tell you, like we had, for instance, at Anandpur Sahib Hola Mahalla. Now, there we did tell them that you should cut down and don't allow big crowds, but crowds came. And a lot of people got affected there. And then we had to start tracing back. We are still tracing about 9,000 people who have been in touch with contacts, and our people are going around. But then after that, when we came to Baisakhi at Damdaman Sahib, where normally the crowds are about 5 lakhs, I requested the SGPC and the Jathedar Akal Takht and all, and they gave an appeal and nobody went there. And the answer, what we suggested was that you keep a time, say 11 o'clock in the morning, and in their homes, they should do the ardas and whatever they want to do, and nobody should go and visit. And everybody followed. I think, it's more than our telling them. I think people today are scared. People today realize that things are not good. And I think they're going by what we are saying. I mean, today, we could have had a lot of problems in 40 days that, people can break the curfew and lockdowns and all, but no, that hasn't happened. So we have, I think they're scared and they're going by us as the gospel truth, and they believe that whatever we're saying they should do, and then things come under control.
Okay, finally, what are you going to do with farmers? We've just had the harvest season get over. You have your Rabi crops. Farmers are worried about procurement. You don't have the revenue. You're saying the center isn't giving you the money. What are you going to do?
We've done it. It's all done. We have look, I'll give you the figures. 180 lakh tons is what we are producing. 135 lakh tons is what has been coming to the market. And 102 lakh tons till last evening had been procured. So we have already paid them the money. 48 hours, within 48 hours, we pay them. So by another 10 days, I think the crop will be over 35 lakh tons. So it's a great effort on the part of the farmer, one, on the part of the procurement agencies and our RTRs and all who are handling this whole thing. We've had no complaint. Social distancing was done. Everything was done under control. And I think in my years, I was agriculture minister in 85. Then I was agriculture portfolio also when I was chief minister last time for 5 years. And now I've got the agriculture portfolio myself now for the last 3 years. So I've seen the agriculture and the mandi functioning. I don't think we've had a better procurement than we've done this year. And that again, it's people's cooperation because they didn't want this. They realized that coming together and all would create problems. So we had marked the places and they stood where they were told to stand.
What worries you right now the most, Captain Amrinder Singh? What worries you? What keeps you up at night?
I think everyone is working. I'm not a pessimist. I believe I'm an optimist. I've always felt that way. And you can feel that way when you feel that things are okay. And I feel that my Punjab is working very well. My officers are working very well. My police force is doing a great job. Apart from, I've got 4,000 men on the streets who are patrolling there. But apart from that, over 1 crore bags of food they have distributed in their own way, not from the government. They've collected the food and given to people. So it's a humanitarian business also. And then we are doing this also. Our NGOs are working, our people are working who have been given this task, our various departments are working, the officers are working, my ministers are working, the MLAs are working, the works. So when that happens, then you feel content. And I feel content that things are going okay.
Well, I'm sure it helps to have a soldier chief minister at this moment, Captain Amrinder. We wish you the best. Punjab is my home state. It's my home state, so I feel even more about it. So thank you so much.